All right, today I'm going to show you how to replace the door panel insert on your Land Rover Discovery 2. This piece right here. So these were usually suede from the factory, and that suede will start to fall apart as vehicles age. And most people say just to replace the whole door panel, but I found a way to replace just this section in whatever color or pattern you want. So let's get started. Okay, so today I'm going to be replacing these inserts right here. So I did this originally 5 months ago, I want to say, and I learned some very important things doing that, so I'm going to be redoing them today in that plaid up there. So I already did that one, so let's get started on this one. So first thing you're going to want to pay attention to before you even get started, before you even take your door panel off, is what fabric you want to buy for this. So you can get any color or any pattern you want, but there are two real important things that you're going to want to note. So first off is what type of fabric. You're going to want an upholstery fabric because, so I got a really good deal on this woven fabric, and as you can see, it's starting to fall apart, it's starting to fray, it's starting to lift up in a couple places, so you do not want this. You want an upholstery fabric like that, so, or an outdoor fabric or something similar. So the second thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the stretchiness. You want the stretchiest material you can find, because on these door panels, so that's right there and also right here, are some pretty significant elevation changes and bumps and stuff like that, and you're going to want something super stretchy so that you don't end up with any air pockets or any parts where it's lifting off or anything like that. So with that in mind, let's get started taking this off. Okay, first thing we're going to want to do to take this off is we're going to want to grab our T15 screwdriver, flip the panel over, and take off this screw and this screw that'll remove the handle. So I'm going to do that real quick now. You make sure you get the washer out of here too, don't lose this. Do the same for the other side. And this one, the washer is stuck to the panel, so that's okay. We can leave it like that. So then we're going to want to flip this back over, and this handle should just pop right off like that. And then we can set that to the side, and then start removing the panel from the door panel. Okay, to remove the insert from the door panel, you are going to want to first flip it over again, and so in the back here, there are 5 clips. So there's going to be a clip roughly here, 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 and here. So you're going to want to take your flathead screwdriver and kind of wedge it in there. And you'll see there's a clip back there, and you just pop it up right like that. So now that's standing up. Go to the next one. Do the same thing. Go to the next one. Do the same thing. And then just continue on down the row, so you can see the clip in there that you're popping out. And you want to go down and do that to all of them. And if you break it like that, it's not a huge deal because you can always repair it later, and the fabric will cover up a lot of sins. So you don't have to be super gentle. If something cracks or breaks, it doesn't matter all that much because you can always fix it. Okay, so now that we have all 5 clips out, we can flip the panel back over, and so the rest of it is just held into a channel along the length of the insert. So what you're going to want to do is just go like that. So it'll probably be a little bit harder the first time. You're going to have to work around it a little bit more, but it just pops right out of there, and you can see how that was held in. So that just goes in the channel there. And then on this part, so you can see it's just a little lip there, and that holds it in. And you can see the clips that hold the top in, and the clips where they clip into on the top. So those aren't very tight in there. Those will kind of just go like thunk out of there. So that'll come out pretty easily. So now that we have it apart, we can take our insert and go up to somewhere where we can start to disassemble this and take the old fabric off. Okay, taking the old fabric off, this is where the process will start to differ between mine, which I've done before, and yours, which is likely the original alcantara on there. So this is going to come off a little bit easier than the alcantara, and I'll show you the differences. I have pictures. I'll flash them up on the screen when we get to those points. So first off, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to grab an edge and then just start peeling it up. So this is obviously going to be significantly harder with the old alcantara, but you're just going to want to peel it up, use a screwdriver or whatever, and just peel up all of the old fabric and get it off. So on the original alcantara, or cloth, when you pull that up, it's going to be held on with a yellow foam adhesive stuff. It's kind of a disaster, and it's really quite difficult to get the old stuff off. It'll come, but you just have to be a little patient with it, work it, and that'll eventually come off. I'll throw a picture up right now of the of what that looked like. So if you're doing this for the first time, you'll have an extra step that I'm not doing here, and that is get a wire brush on your drill and use that to pull off all of the old yellow adhesive foam combo stuff. So you can actually see a little bit of a yellow tinge to this. That is from the leftover foam. You don't have to be super aggressive with it, but just get out enough so that your adhesive will stick afterwards with your new stuff. So, but you'll have to go at it a little bit with your drill. And once that's all off, then you'll come to a step similar to where I am right now. So I'm just getting all the old fabric off of there, all the little strands. You can see, again, why you don't want to use a woven fabric, because you've got all of the fabric stuck to it, and that is holding this stuff instead of your fabric, so it'll start to lift and do stuff like that. So that's why you don't want to use that. So now I'm going to take a couple minutes, get this all cleaned up, and then I'll be back with gluing on your new fabric, cutting it out, all that stuff. All right, now I've got this cleaned up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I've got it mostly clean. I want to talk about adhesive. So this is the adhesive that I've been using. It's a Permatex Heavy Duty Automotive Headliner Adhesive. Part number is right there, and I'll throw a link in the description. But this stuff has been awesome. I used it to do the headliner on my Volvo about 2 years ago, I want to say, and it's a black car. I park it outside in the sun, and it's been holding up beautifully. It works great. It goes on easy, tacks up real quick. It's great stuff. So get yourself a can of this. It won't let you down. Not sponsored, but get this. It's going to work great. And so now that we've got the adhesive out of the way, we're going to want to grab something using a piece of plywood. You can use a piece of cardboard, whatever, just so you don't get adhesive all over the surface that you're working on if you don't want to ruin it. So just get this out. And you can see from when I was putting it together last time, I broke off a piece of this. You can either repair this, or this is pretty brittle. It'll just snap right like that. So you can repair this, or you can just cover it right up. It doesn't really matter all that much. So I'll show you that once we get to that step. But so what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to grab your fabric. So this is the fabric that I'm using. It is an outdoor fabric, and so it's water resistant, and it should work great for this application. It worked pretty well for that one, so we're going to use it for this. It should hold up well, and it's pretty stretchy, so it works pretty well. So what you're going to want to get is you're going to want to take this, lay it out, and you're going to want a significant amount of room around it. You don't want this to be too small, because if it is, then you are going to run into issues when it comes to fitting stuff, and when you got to wrap it around the edges. If you come even just a little bit short, you're going to have to redo the whole thing, because you'll have a spot with no fabric, and it'll be sticking up, and it's just not going to look very good. So you're going to want to make sure you have a piece that's quite a bit bigger than your panel. So with that in mind, we will begin to spray our adhesive. So you're going to want to give this stuff a shake. This can's almost empty, but there's a little bit left. Give that a shake. And then you're going to want to apply this stuff very liberally. Just go at it about 8 inches away. Thick, overlapping coats. Just like that. You're going to want to pay special attention to the areas where it might lift, such as right here, right in here, places like that. You're just going to want to make sure you go extra heavy. If you've got a fabric that is thinner or it's not really an outdoor fabric, you're going to want to go kind of light because otherwise it will bleed through your fabric. But otherwise, if you got an outdoor fabric like I have, where it's water resistant, just go to town with the spray. You can't use enough spray, and you can't use too much spray. Just keep going at it. Make sure you get all those areas, and just get everything. Oh, it's starting to run out. Just make sure you get everything. Come on. Make sure you get everything sprayed down. So I'm going to switch cams real quick, but I'll be back once I finish spraying the adhesive. Okay, now that everything is properly sprayed down and that you've make sure you've gotten the edges and all of the points where it might want to pick up, such as this part right here, all the low points, and you've waited at least 5 minutes for your glue to tack up, you're going to want to take this, and so you're going to want to note that this is the top edge. This is the edge that you rest your elbow on. This is what you see the most, so this is what you want to look best. The bottom here will get a little bit more, it'll distort your pattern a little bit, so you want to start up here and work your way down. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take this and put it right onto your fabric. Make sure everything's good. You got a little bit of overlapping fabric. And then, so this is going to be hard to show on camera because I'm just one person, but so you're going to want to basically take your hand, come under here, and then roll it up onto it. So for this section, you can just take it, rotate it like that for that top bit, and that should, pick up a little bit of fabric. And then now you can get your hand underneath, and you're going to want to start from the middle and work your way down and out. And so just do that, and you'll work your way down. And then so once you get, so basically what I was doing is I was just going like that, making sure everything's good, kind of work it into all of the regions. So what you're going to want to do once you get to all the parts with the bumps, so you're going to want to start, going to go right down the middle and get that laid down first. So do that, and then get your fabric up over the hills. So make sure, so like there's a crease right there. If you get a crease, pick it up, pull it, and try to work it. So it'll look kind of rough in the beginning. So like those creases, that doesn't look good. So pick it up, put it back down, try again. You can see it'll take a couple tries, but as you do it, you'll get better at it. See, like now that crease has gone away, and we're good. So, and then just, this is where it's important to have stretchy fabric because it doesn't matter as much. You don't have to keep picking up and putting it back down and redoing it, because you can just kind of use the stretchiness to work all of the creases out. So you can see we're working this section. You just got to keep working it, and all of the creases will slowly start to come out. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, especially depending on your choice of fabric. Like this one isn't the stretchiest, so it's going to take a little bit of working, but as you work it, it will slowly improve. So, and then just make sure you have enough for this area down here. you don't want any fabric sticking up, lifting like that right there. It looks horrible. So pull it up and really start doing it like that. So that's coming together. So you don't have to worry about this section right here as much, because this is where your handle mounts to. You can use the screws to pull the handle in and make that look a lot better. I'll show you that in a little bit. But so just, you can also use that to your advantage. If you have parts that are kind of wrinkly, you can work that wrinkle over to here and use the handle to hide your mistakes. So, or rather hide the excess fabric. And so just keep working it, and all of the, most of the creases and stuff will come out. So like over here. So you can see right here, this is where your handle mounts, so you don't have to get this perfectly flush because the handle will mount. But you're going to want to get your hands behind here for this and just kind of work it forward like that and get everything kind of in there and get it sort of like that, and then just work the creases out. See, the stretchier the fabric, you can just kind of push down right there and it'll mostly go away. I'm going to keep working this off camera because it kind of requires two hands, but I'll get back to you once I finish this and we can move on to the next step. Okay, now that you've gotten your fabric how you like it, it's time to move on to the next step, which is cutting off all the excess material. I won't do this on camera, but so basically what you're going to want to do is leave probably a couple centimeters of material, not even like a centimeter or so, around the outside, just so you have something to tuck underneath. You do not want to cut it flush because you want some room for error. You want to be able to have some extra material to tuck underneath so that you can get rid of some of this stuff, which is why some of the more minor creasing around the side doesn't matter very much, because you can get rid of it by tucking it underneath. So I'm going to start cutting it up and I'll get back to you once I finish that. Okay, now that everything's cut, you're going to want like about that much material, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. In some places I cut a little too much off, like that. That's not enough. You're going to want to keep it more like this. But once you have that cut, you are going to grab two things. You are going to grab your door panel, and you are also going to grab the handle that you took off and the screws associated with it, because we're going to use that handle to help us mount the panel here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it and get it loosely in position, just kind of plop it on top like that, and pick up our door panel. It's kind of hard with one hand. Pick up our door handle. So you're going to want to get those clips, line them up on their holes, and snap them into place. Just go down the line, snap them into place there. You're not really going to hear them. They just kind of go soft, thunk, but they will snap in eventually. So you can see they snapped in, so that's good. So that's the first place you're going to want to make sure you get in. Second place is down along the bottom here. You're going to want to make sure you get that lip into there. So you probably want to put this on something or the edge of a table or something so it doesn't move around too much, so you don't crack the panel. But so you're going to want, what I find is very helpful is getting a flathead screwdriver, and you can kind of work it in there and kind of pry at it and get it in. So I didn't clip the clips up the top in all the way, so just want to make sure you do that. There it goes. Get everything nice and seated all the way down so that you can, come on, so you can start snapping this in. So You can also just use your hand, kind of force it in like that. I found that works. It kind of depends on the fabric you're using and how stubborn your panel is. Obviously, if you've never done this before, it's going to be a little bit more stubborn, but I was trying to get all these in. These have been, there it goes. Just work along it, get everything in. See, like you got fabric bunched up around here, that doesn't want to go in. Get that kind of down in there. Use your screwdriver if you need to, but get that, just sit down. All right, this is very difficult with one hand. I'm going to do this off camera and I'll show you what I did. Okay, now I have all the clips in down here, so we're looking at the panel this way. So at the top here, I got all 5 clips in. So now we can start working on the sides here. So usually you just give it a little bit with your palm there to both sides, and it should kind of thunk into place. And then once you get that, so see, that's nice and flush, nice and flush. So you don't worry about any of the fabric that's sticking up. We'll deal with that later. I'll show you guys a good trick. But so once you do that, you can start worrying about right here. So this is very difficult in my opinion. This method doesn't really work all that great. So what you can do is you can grab a flathead screwdriver and kind of push down and try to pry it in there. You got to be kind of careful when you do this. See, like that. And then you can get in there and then pry. You got to be careful because you can break this pretty easily. This is just like a high density foam, and that will peel apart on you and you'll ruin your door panel. But just start working it, try to get it in there. If that doesn't work, you can move on to the next step, which is putting the handle into the door. So usually if you were Land Rover building this thing, you wouldn't do this yet because obviously it's form fitted and everything just goes together. But you can use a trick and put the handle on now and use the screws that hold the handle on the back with these holes. Use those screws to suck this panel towards the door panel. So we are going to do that now because this is broken on mine because I was a little too aggressive with it last time I did this. So we will go at it with the screw method and I will show you how to do that. Okay, so you're going to want to grab an X-Acto knife or utility knife or something like that. And you're going to want to feel for the holes. So there's one right here. So you just a little effort, and there you go. There's a hole. Widen it out a little bit. So there's your hole. There's also a small one down here somewhere, right about there, that we're also going to cut. Requires a little bit of effort. You gotta make sure you're right on it. Right there. So I'll cut that like that. This doesn't have to be perfectly clean because it will be underneath the handle. So you want to do that with both sides. So feel around for it, cut it. Make sure you cut out enough to get the nubs on the handle into the hole, like that. And then a smaller hole down here. That. And so you're going to want to set your handle up right like that, and then just push it and try to get it into place on your panel. You're going to have a little bit of resistance if you have some floating fabric there like I do, but so this next part requires 2 hands, so I can't do it on camera, but essentially what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to flip your panel up on end, standing up like this, and you're going to want to have your arm kind of around holding the handle, pushing on it, and then get your screws and screw them in right there. And then what I'll do is I'll suck the handle in. So make sure you don't forget your washer, like the washer fell off that one. Make sure you have your washer on there and your screw and your T15 Torx, and screw the handle on from the backside, and that will suck your insert in. I'll do that right now and I'll get back. Okay, now that you've got the handle on, which is just secured by those 2 screws right back here, just be patient with it. It will go on even with a significant gap. Once you get that on, this panel is solid. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about the thing falling off or getting sections in like this. You're going to want to go around the edge. Just make sure that everything is seated properly. But once you do, then you're just going to grab your flathead screwdriver and just take all of this excess and just push it underneath and just go around and do that. This is kind of time consuming, but once you get it, it will look great. And you just go all the way around and do that. And eventually you'll get results like this. And you just do that. And you will have edges that look pretty much factory fresh. So this is a lot easier if you've got a longer screwdriver with a bigger handle. You can get 2 hands on it and really work the fabric and get in there and make everything look nice. Obviously, if you got a lot of fabric laying like this, I probably want to cut that so you don't have as much to shove underneath. But so I'm going to do this off camera and I will show you the finished product when I come back. All right, I just got finished tucking everything in with a screwdriver and this is the result. It looks pretty good. It takes a good bit of patience, good bit of elbow grease, but you'll get it done eventually. Just be patient, take your time, and it will come out as well as or better than this. I probably should have spent a little more time working the fabric right here. It's a little bit creased, but if you gotta stretch your material or spend a little more time with that, that will go away, and you'll end up with results like this one. I spent a little more time on this first one, so it came out a good bit better. But spend time with it, have fun, don't rush it, take your time, just work the material and it will come out super nicely. And you don't have to spend money on a new door panel, and it's a fun DIY project. Save a little bit of money, learn something new, and take your D2 and make it your own. Everybody has the shot alcantara. You can spend $50-100 at a junkyard and replace it with some slightly less shot alcantara. Or you can spend about $10 is what I spent on this. Spend $10 and a few hours in your basement or your garage and just get creative, and you'll have super sweet custom door panels in no time. And it's a nice accenting touch to your D2. I'm doing my headliner in this pattern, so I figured I'd redo the panels in this pattern as well. Headliners up over there. That's gonna be done in a little bit, but I figured I'd do the panels first and show you guys how to do them. If you want to read about the first time I did this, I did a write-up on the Land Rovers Only forum. I'll put a link in the description. You can go take a look at that. But other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Get out there, get some fabric, have fun, and make some interesting and unique door panels for your D2. Thanks for watching.